Hello, my name is Jake Barr. I'm the CEO of BlueWorld Supply Chain Consulting. We provide support across 6 industry verticals and to a broad cross-section of many of the Fortune 100. We have experience that spans more than 4 decades of supply chain expertise and the ability to lead digitization projects across the world. I've been asked to speak to the changing landscape affecting companies that we work with and resilience of their supply chains. I think for many of these firms, they actually share some very common pain points. First, highly volatile demand really speaks to what is the current business climate across most of these industry verticals. That coupled with completely time-sensitive or constrained reaction times of their supply chains, how quickly they need to serve their clients, has really risen to the forefront. For many, this has manifested itself through what I would call or term the need to incorporate or go on a journey of automation and digitization. It stretches it from everything from supplier collaboration to dynamic planning solutions and production or delivery execution process reinvention. It's quite challenging and scope for many organizations to really undertake who are seeking to kind of evolve and move from a more physical to a digital kind of operational capability. The second pain point that I see that they share, which is also consistent across the verticals, such as manufacturing and life sciences as an example, is that their underlying architectures. So think of that as just the simple way in which that they're able to access information that they need to be able to make decisions or drive real-time operational knowledge to use in solving business problems is lacking. The existence of data architectures are dependent on feeding digital assets or investments. I can't underscore that enough. For many companies that we walk into, there is a huge data latency issue. Now, this is often caused because of the fact that most companies have matured to where they hold their data, if they've got it available from individual applications, in, I'll call them large-scale data lake structures. And so it creates both a time latency issue on being able to acquire the information, and importantly, the ability to integrate information that is needed in problem solving that actually has to be brought from more than a single application or solution set. And that is really driving a point of chaos. Companies have to actually successfully manage that if they're going to see dramatic improvement and drive the level of operational performance. I think this can be done, frankly, with the help of leveraging supply chain digital twins and more autonomous decision making. But the core of that depends upon the ability to go and get the information that's required to be able to help fuel faster, more accurate decision support. Now, the data or enterprise data landscape is today changing at a speed like never before. It's increasingly hybrid, it's diverse. Enterprises are faced with, both their historical data challenges and an explosion in the availability of operational data. Now, that's operational data that's both structured, but also operational data that's unstructured. So the Internet of Things, so IoT and sensors and the ability to actually monitor many of the processes that they didn't have the ability to do so in the past, has resulted in an explosion of both data being available, but then the ability to need to harness it for decision making. And that coupled with, I'll call it growing external relevance of data sources that are unstructured, so consumer insight data, trends data that you want to bring into a decision-making process, makes that a giant area of focus. Bottom line, it's a hybrid multi-cloud environment where you've got to be able to manage the complexity of the data sources and bring them in and really make it hunt for you. Now, what this really means in a supply chain context that I see every day is that companies are requiring the ability to grab the information faster and use a more flexible platform for both the query and in the data landscape or the architecture to ultimately help them with a new way of thinking, a new way of making decisions, a new way of supporting their people in the operation to answer very important questions so that they can conduct business. I honestly think that that has been a gap for years because traditional data management solutions, while they worked well with the longer reaction times that we had in the past, it just simply isn't able to keep up with today's reaction time expectations. You know, supply chain data, it needs to be what I call reusable. It is critical for both helping you understand operational performance, but then leveraging it into a bigger context for solving revenue and margin trade-off decisions on availability of product to segments and things of that nature, which in the past, you know, were separate activities. You didn't worry about bundling them together, but that really is the life of a supply chain leader today. It's both understanding operational performance and it's the ability to lift it up and put it into a financial context for executives that you work for. So I don't have the time to go through the traditional approaches that required, you know, non-repeatable data extractions for problem solving, et cetera. But suffice it to say, it just simply doesn't stand up in the context of what is required today to move forward in this faster business environment. You know, Stardog is interesting to me. Their enterprise knowledge graph platform, I think, can help solve many of these problems. You know, from a supply chain to drug discovery. I've seen firsthand how it connects those diverse data sources and delivers faster, near real-time insights. Helps solve commercial and manufacturing challenges. It's a step forward in the critical area of helping operational and supply chain professionals be able to get their arms around quicker access to information to actually go answer questions, not just go through days and weeks of trying to pull the information together. You know, by connecting the data rather than moving it, Stardog, in my opinion, also offers a different kind of context for how to go about this problem. You know, business units and external parties to collaborate without the limitation of traditional, you know, where is the information stored situation. So Stardog weaves together the ability to do the data from internal silos and information external sources and creates a network of connected data. I mean, that's the term I'd use for it, the ability to have connected data and a data that actually has a business meaning to it instead of just information that you can't relate, and the ability to do all of that without copying, moving, and storing the data again. You know, the network of data is easily reusable, in my opinion, for different applications. You know, once data is part of the knowledge graph, you can answer unanticipated questions, because that's the one thing that a supply chain professional is always doing. The number of attributes, the size of the problem, the scale of the problem is continuously evolving and changing. And so the old days of trying to go and extract data to answer the point in time question It just doesn't exist. The question is continually morphing today, and you need to be able to have this data with meaning that you can use to pull together and answer your questions more rapidly. So the other piece that I see is Stardog is powered by this semantic graph database, and it's got the data visualization and importantly, the inference engine capabilities that combine and provide the ability to scale and analyze and pick out large-scale operational issues through actually sifting, sorting, and making the inference in the data. That's something that hasn't existed in the past. You know, at the end of the day, today's environment is described as kind of a chaotic business environment that supply chains need to respond to. And it's not getting any easier to navigate. Truthfully, it gets more complex by the day. So you have to have an approach that I call has data agility to it, the ability to use the intelligence and responsiveness to those changes that you're facing, whatever their source may be. You know, today it's the global pandemic. Tomorrow it's obviously a merger or a channel expansion or a consolidation, but they all require at their core the ability to do analysis and get answers in what I call warp speed time. So I view part of the answer here as turbocharging how we can access data for decision making. It's a simple way to describe it, but it's not overly elegant, but in my opinion, it's the most appropriate description that you can use. It's a way of quickly getting started without heavy lifting and a simple way for supply chain leaders to add to their arsenal of problem solving tools. It's a common occurrence that goes across industry verticals, and to me, the area is only gaining in importance as we go through month to month. I hope this was of help to you. Good luck.